Hi friends, before we get to today's episode, we have a couple announcements for you. First of all, due to current situation with the pandemic and having to isolate, we are unfortunately not able to meet and record video episodes. We still wanted to put out the second season of the podcast for you friends, so for the time being, we will do it in audio-only format. We're recording in our own homes with separate setups, so the sound quality is going to be a little different for the two of us, and the flow of the conversation might seem a bit different from what you're used to, since we're talking to each other on video calls. So please bear with us as we make it work given the current situation. The podcast is still available on all the same platforms, including YouTube. And we will return to filming video episodes as soon as we can meet in person again.
We have another exciting announcement. We are now on Patreon. If you don't know what Patreon is, it is a platform where you can support your favorite creatives with a monthly pledge that you can change or delete anytime. Our Patreon page will work as a tip jar with one tier that is €2 a month or more if you wish. The money will go towards paying for our podcast hosting fees. In the future, we hope to also create exclusive content for you on Patreon. So, if you enjoy listening to our podcast, consider supporting us on Patreon. And now to today's episode.
Hi friends, my name is Sasha.
And I'm Mia.
And this is the Drawing Club podcast. Welcome back to the podcast. And today we are continuing our conversation from last week that we had with Apila. It was really nice, but also really long, so we split it into episodes, and today you will hear the rest of it. So if you didn't listen last week's episode, please listen to that first, because that's the beginning of the conversation. Yeah, but before we go into that, we wanted to share our one thing that we want to share with the club. What is your one thing you want to share with the club, Mia?
Yeah, so as I've talked about on this podcast, I've been working on my part-time job from home, and that has kind of been a lot of work. It's been like building up slowly, and that has meant that I haven't had very much time for my own creative work, because I also feel like I need a lot more free time and time to recharge and take it easy. So, but yesterday I had this really nice time working on my own creative stuff, because I got my new wooden jewelry delivered, and I spent a few hours kind of assembling my new earrings and gluing them and stuff. And while I was doing that, it was, first of all, it was just super nice to be doing my own stuff. But while I was doing that, I was watching ContraPoints on YouTube. And I think, Sasha, you also watch Natalie's videos?
Yeah, I've been watching Natalie for a while now.
Yeah, I think it was you who recommended her videos to me. And yeah, I've watched some of her videos before, but now I really went on a binge for at least 3 or 4 hours. I was watching her videos, and yeah, I highly recommend them for those. They're, first of all, amazing production value, but she covers the topics she covers are super interesting, and she does it in this really, really fun and informative way, and visually stunning way as well. So I highly recommend everyone check her out.
Yeah.
If you don't know her already.
Yeah, I'm always amazed how much effort she puts into every video. There is so much, her costumes and her makeup and all the scenes that she creates are so amazing, and yeah, and yeah, all the humor is I don't know, everything is
she's amazing. She's just amazing.
I know. I agree. Yeah, so go watch Natalie ContraPoints on YouTube. And my one thing that I want to share with the club is a new podcast, actually, that I have started listening to. Yeah, I always need new podcasts, so please also recommend me podcasts. Because
yeah, please recommend us. I'm also always looking for more stuff.
Yeah, because at my work, I basically at my day job, I listen to podcasts pretty much all the time. And also on my ride back and forth, I also listen to podcasts. So yeah, I listen to like 5 hours of podcasts per day sometimes. Anyways, a friend of mine has recommended me this new podcast called Ologies. So it's like the host, I think, okay, I forgot her name, Ali something. She's a comedian, so she's also like really funny and really entertaining to listen to, and she interviews different people who study something. So it's like, yeah, so those are ologies, like psychology or sociology, but actually most of them are not psychology or sociology, but they would be like volcanology or penguinology or like all those like very specific things. And it's so interesting to like listen to those people who study this very specific thing, and they're so into it, and they like and it's amazing, like, because they can see how those things are so amazing because they know those things so well. But also like when you learn about it from those people, it's like, okay, I knew volcanoes were cool, but like now I actually know like how cool they are. Like it's really interesting. And I mean, it gets like pretty sciencey in some parts, and like I don't understand all of it, but also like the point of it is for it to be like accessible to everyone, so it's not like super sciencey. But of course sometimes those scientists, when they start explaining something, you're like, I don't know what do you mean by this, but it sounds very complicated and very cool. Yeah. And the last episode, like the latest episode I listened, I don't go in order, I just look at the names of the episodes. I'm like, oh, this sounds interesting. But yeah, the one I listened to yesterday was it yesterday? Anyways, the latest one I listened to was called Potterology. So,
was it about pottery or about Harry Potter?
Harry Potter. And it was this professor who is teaching chemistry in a university, and it's like she has this course that is a real course that is, well, I don't remember the exact name of the course. It actually sounds cooler than what I'm gonna say, but it's something like chemistry for muggles. But it's actually, it sounds even more interesting, but it's like, yeah, she like studies all these things that like all the spells and like all the magic that happens in Harry Potter, but then she kind of teaches about how some of those things could actually happen in real life with help of like chemistry. And it's so interesting. Oh my god, it was really interesting. And also how like she is this like huge Potter fan, but also this super cool chemistry professor, and how like she put those things together, and like her bosses actually let her do this course in her school. And like I'm like so jealous of students who actually can take that course.
Yeah, that sounds so amazing. I would definitely take that course if I was there.
So yeah, if there is like, I was already telling Mia, like if there is one episode of this podcast you're gonna listen to, it should be this. That was amazing. But also like the other ones I listened to were also really interesting. Like the ones about animals have been like so fascinating. So yes, that has been my thing I wanted to share with you.
Perfect.
Yes, but now we'll switch to our interview with Apila. So yeah, have fun.
Hope you enjoy.
Yes. Yeah, but I want to also talk about your personal art, because you do a lot of that too. And well, from what like we know, you like a lot of the topics you use in your personal art and your books and things are like, you talk a lot about human rights and LGBTQ plus topics and like these kind of very like socially important topics. So could you like tell us more about like, was it always like this, that your art always had this very strong message, and like why is it so important for you that your art has this socially important message?
Yeah, I think I've been like, maybe like when I was in high school, I started to like do this more that had these like messages, especially of like LGBTQ rights, and I had a lot of like queer characters in my comics. Back then I didn't know why, what was that, but maybe it was because I was queer myself, but yeah.
Could have been.
Like I was always like, yeah, because I did for my for like graduation work from like my high school, we had this like art diploma that you did, like you had to do like some kind of art project to like show that I'm art high school student, and for that I did a comic that was about like trans rights. And back then I was like, maybe I didn't realize what it was, but now I'm like, oh my god, that's what I did. Like I was just like doing a comic about trans rights back then already. And I think it has continued ever since. And maybe it's also because that's like the work that is most popular for me. Like I get like most people appreciate these works, and they get like the most like they get most popular. So that's what I've been like maybe doing more, but also because it is important for me, of course. And I think like if I can make art that has characters, then why not make the characters queer or something? So like if it's gonna be like that, like might as well have those representation there if I can, even if it's not like something that's like particularly about like queer rights. I can still like make the characters representative in there, and kind of like sneakily include these like feminist thoughts in my work, because even if I'm making work for a client that might not be like a feminist organization or anything like that, I can still like kind of include those like in the characters I portray or something else. And or because I know like I had this like some client that was like, oh, we want you to draw like this timetable for elementary school students, and you have to make the girls have girl hobbies and the boys boy hobbies. And I was like, can we?
No.
Yeah, like the boys are playing soccer and the girls are like doing ballet or something. I was just like seeing red. I was like, no, like no, what is this? Fucking the 50s. And then I was I just sent in like the finished work where it was that the girls played soccer and the boys were dancing ballet, and they didn't say anything about it. I was like, okay, this is perfect. And I was like, haha, I sneaked.
Amazing. I love that.
No, yeah, I like this sneaky.
Yeah. Like even like because I knew like if I started to like maybe because the client maybe was pretty like traditional, so maybe if I was like being like really like, hey, you can't do this, maybe they would have been like, nah, maybe not likes me so much. So I was kind of like, maybe I can just sneakily do this, and then I can still keep my job, but like I can do something that maybe makes them think and maybe realize something without being like mean about it or anything. So yeah, I think there is a way to do it even with these more traditional clients that may not be so informed.
Yeah.
So yeah. And yeah, it has been like with me for some time, and I think now it has become like my brand. So that's why people like hire me. They're like, oh, you do this trans or like sexuality stuff, so we want to like hire you because of that. So I think it has been easier now for me to also do these projects and of course you also asked about like my personal project, not just as my client work, but yeah, in my personal project I also do this a lot, because I think for me it's easiest to tell about my own experience as because I am a non-binary trans person, so I always like try to I like to like explore my own experiences, because I think that is what is important to show, because my experience is unique in a way. Everybody's experience is unique, but also like it is something unique I can show to others, and I think people appreciate, because there is not so much non-binary representation even still. So even having these little representations can really help raise awareness and have something these young queer kids can relate to, or even older queer people. So yeah, I try to like include it as much as I can. I really see the value in it, and yeah, I also, but yeah, now it has become that it's kind of like also this shackle in a way that I feel like only have to do queer stuff to get any kind of like publicity, and it's just like, can I just draw cute pictures sometimes also? Because it can, like, doing activism all the time, it is kind of draining. And I had this like a moment before that I was just like, I'm tired of always talking about trans stuff, like, because it is really draining to talk about your own personal struggles, because I was also struggling a lot with my own gender at the time. So I was like, I have to take a break from this. But then now that I'm having a break, I want to like explore it again. But yeah, I think it is a good thing and a bad thing in a way, because I feel like every time I apply for grants, I'm always like, I can't get grants for anything else. But it's easier to get these grants for like trans related projects. And then I'm like, okay, but kind of like, is this my only thing I can offer? But I want to maybe also offer other things and to do different topics as well.
Yeah.
It can.
Yeah, but I can totally.
But yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, I think like feminism is like the topic that is most like in my work, and also like animal rights is also something that's really, and that's something that it's easier for me to explore because it's not so personal. Like, yeah, I might like be like have these like these oppressions in a way because I'm that I can explore in feminist like ways, but yeah, I think it's something that is more like distant in a way that it's not so personal all the time. So that's maybe easier for me to also explore. So because like these personal topics can get really draining after a while. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I can really relate to like when you like when your work like has more representation of different people, then you like get more like people to want to ask you to like draw those things, and like kind of like all these organizations or all these clients who then have to do with those topics that you're interested in, like who would want to work with you. Like I noticed I don't like work a lot with organizations, but I do a lot of portraits for people or like maybe not like a lot, but some. And I noticed that like whenever I draw, like especially people order portraits from me for like Valentine's Day and like weddings. And it's funny because whenever I advertise portraits, a lot of them are of couples, and those couples are often like same-sex couples, or like they're very different. And I was like in the very beginning I was very intentional about like when I draw couples, I want them to be varied and like every kind of couple, or like maybe not every kind of couple, but different kinds of couples represented. And like I think like more than half of my couples that I draw are like lesbian couples. and I'm like, I'm sure it's not the percentage of like people who want portraits who are lesbian couples, because there are a lot of lesbian couples, but they're not the majority of couples in the world. But like because they are represented in my work already before, then they see themselves in this work, and then they or like their friends.
On order.
And sometimes it's even their friends. Like, okay, so my lesbian friends are getting married, and I want to commission an illustrator to draw a portrait from them. Oh, I've seen Sasha draw lesbian couples, so like it's interesting because I'm like I didn't really like expect that, but then I'm like eventually I was like, why like I'm mostly drawing lesbian couples? This is interesting. Yeah, but like I think it's a very good like. Because I also always think that if I want to work with organizations, I want them to be the organizations I want to support. I don't want to just like do work for some random whoever. Like it would be really nice to do work that you're paid for that is also activism. And I think it's like a very good idea that like if you want to do work with some kind of angle, do it already in your personal work and put it out, and then those organizations or those clients or whoever will see that, and then they will associate you with those topics. If like those
Yeah, I think
yeah.
I think for me also, like a lot of the clients that I have are like kind of feminist valued, who have like feminist values or want to like show queer representation. So I think that's why they approach me, and I think that it can be a really good thing. But yeah, I think, and having like, of course I want to have like clients that are like inclusive to queer people and who want to like, who will like support feminist values. Like, of course that's what I want to do. And yeah I don't know what else, what there is, but yeah.
Yeah, what can you tell us like what kind of personal work you usually do?
Like actually, like recently I haven't been doing that much personal work, and I think that's maybe something I want to do more. I had this like exhibition coming up, but I think now that because of the Corona situation, I think I'm gonna have to delay it for next year. But I have this exhibition coming up that is gonna be at the Galleria Kuvitus, so Illustrators Association's gallery in Helsinki, and it's gonna be about like, it's gonna be mostly about my own identity, but also exploring these this kind of online side of world. I think this is what I explore a lot, is like this online community, and I'm really active in like the artist alley scene in Finland. I go to a lot of events. Of course now I can't, but yeah, it is really something that I love doing, like going to like events and selling my art. And I have this kind of kawaii anime influence style. That's one, but it's something that I before I used to draw like really like manga inspired art, but the art school beat that out of me. I think they didn't really like it there, so I was like kind of I wanted to get out of that, because they were all like, oh, you're the person who draws manga, and I was like, what? Well, like I wanted to like, maybe yeah, I was kind of like pressured to change my style because of the feedback, but also I didn't want that to be the thing that I was only recognized for. But I think now that I've been embracing that side also more, because that's where I came. That's why I got inspired by like comics in the first place, was like Japanese manga, and I think that's something I should embrace and not just like kind of be ashamed of anymore. So yeah, that's like and I do this kind of kawaii style, cutesy stuff a lot of the time, and I want to like show this fantasy world, because for me also like I want to do art that is not like something, I want to draw something that is not like in this world, and I want to like create something that is like fantastical, because if I want to show something that is in this world, I can just take a picture, but with drawing I can do something that is not there actually. So that I think, and also comics is like so wonderful because I can do whatever I want, like tell a story about something that maybe I couldn't tell if I shoot a video or something. Like I could make a film, but it was really expensive, but making a comic out of it, it's more cheaper, and I can show whatever I want because I can draw whatever I want. And that is something that I want to create with my art. But also like recently, maybe I've been exploring these autobiographical elements in my comics, like doing autobiographical comics, and it is pretty hard for me still. It is so hard for me to like explore my own life, but it's getting better. But yeah, I sometimes use these like do these fantastical things because it's like easier and not so like draining emotionally, because it's like a fantasy world, la la la. It's not, it's escapism. But yeah, doing like these autobiographical works, it's really like you have to be naked in front of the audience in a way, like show your like most inner traumas and turmoils. It is pretty scary, because I've been working on this autobiographical comic book. It is called Ujo, which is about like social anxiety and shyness, and it's kind of like, it's gonna be about my childhood and my teenage years and also my recent years, like how has my shyness and this like social phobia affected my life, and how has it like made me who I am today. 'Cause it was something I realized there wasn't like any comics about this topic that I knew about, at least. So that's what I wanted to explore. And also I had this like really nice publisher who was like really like encouraging me to explore autobiographical stuff, because they knew that my experience is something that is worth telling. So I think that was a really good push for me to do this comic, but I know it's not gonna be easy. And so yeah, it's a process. But yeah, this like artist alley anime kawaii stuff is what I do to like escape my worries, and maybe my comics are really like maybe more dark and kind of serious and more maybe it's mental health related and like psychological stuff, because that's really like what I really in the movies, because for me like making graphic novels is like making movies, but I don't know how to make movies, so I make comics. But yeah, the movies that I like are like these psychological kind of movies that make you question your reality and the way you like exploring humanity's darkest sides. So yeah,
I really love the sound of your new comic, and I can't wait to read it, because it sounds like it's something that I can relate to. So I can't wait to read that. But also, I totally relate to this kind of wanting your art making to be kind of an escape, because I definitely see like often when I want to draw, it's kind of to calm down, and it's kind of it's like escapism. I want to create this calm world and kind of but I've noticed when I recently did like kind of my first real comic, or it was like this zine called Taking Care, where I kind of showed ways that I deal with anxiety and depression, kind of like showing ways I take care of myself. And that was like, it was so hard, because I don't like, in my art I don't really deal directly with a lot of issues, so it was really challenging to try and do that. It was also very enjoyable, but it was very difficult to approach it from that point of view suddenly.
Yeah, it's so draining. I don't know, like maybe some people have it like more easy to talk about their own like stuff in their work, but for me it's like has been like so hard. And yeah, it is a process. It's getting like better, but I know like, and for me it also is because I know it is so difficult, then I know it's something worth telling, because it is something, I think this topic can bring so much to others, so I see the value in doing that. Definitely, and I want to like do it, but yeah, it is emotionally draining, and then I need to like have some balance in doing some cutesy children's illustration in the one. Not just like look through my old trauma, because that is it's a lot.
Do you ever like, because you share a lot about your own experiences, do you ever feel like should I even share this, or like whether it matters, and because I know like a lot of us I think at least I have. Okay, I have this thing, this thing that I really want to sometimes make. Like I even have some situations where I have like, okay, this should be a comic, but or like an illustration or something. Like I really have some experiences that I really want to share. But like for me, for example, a lot of it is around like being an immigrant, and then sometimes I'm like, okay, is this like am I like making too much of a deal around this? Like, is this like somebody has it even worse, or like some important issue, like some things that should be in art are like even more important issues, or like okay, these are like some little racist things, but then like people of color have it like even worse, and like and I'm at least not always seen, like, you know, like all these little things that tell me that I shouldn't like make this work and make like a big deal out of these situations. Like, do you feel your inner self sometimes like keeping you from sharing your experiences like that?
Yeah, I think they definitely relate to that, like in a way that like I think like is my story like that important in a way. But now I've been like maybe getting over that, and I think like I've been like reading more stories about maybe even more like casual stuff, and I think that's really interesting to read about even people's kind of everyday lives, and it can be really interesting even if it's maybe not so like dramatic all the time. So I think that has a value to in telling that everybody's like stories worth telling, and I also maybe in a way to like document the modern day. So I definitely think you should tell your stories. I think I would be interested in reading those and seeing those.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, I totally get that why you have that feeling. Maybe for me, what is most like censoring me is, can I tell this? Is it like maybe a little bit too much for the people around me? Because I have to also, if I'm doing like autobiographical comics, I have to think about who I can show, and are the people willing to be shown in my comics? Because like if I show my family or my friends, like how are they gonna be affected by the comic? So that's one thing I decided was that I'm not gonna show anybody other than myself, or if I show anybody else, I'm gonna show them in a positive light. So they're not gonna get any like bad repercussions from it. So their image is gonna be good even after comic, and the only person I can portray negatively is myself. So like if there's any like problems with the comic, it's all on me and not anybody else. So that's something I really struggle with, because especially showing like vulnerability in comics and like my own personal trauma, it is really like, how are people gonna think about me? Maybe that's how I'm, and we like are they gonna like think less of me or something? So that's something I mostly struggle with. But I don't like I think I maybe have like kind of like, I think my story is worth telling, and I think everybody should have that feeling like. So I don't have maybe that, but I just think like how it's gonna affect other people if I show this story.
Yeah.
Because I have like some pretty like fucked up shit that happened to me, and I'm like, I don't know, like how are gonna people think about me if they know this? But yeah, I have to. But maybe I was like, especially because I've been a teacher, I have to like be like, I don't want my students to like know this about me, maybe. So, but now that I maybe I want to move more away from teaching and focus on my own art more. And that's kind of like why I chose tattooing, because you can do whatever and still be a tattoo artist, and nobody's gonna be like, you can't teach my children. Like, tattoo artists can do like you. It's kind of like the bottom of the pile, like where all the criminals go. So like they're not gonna care what I did. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, actually, I think it's time we move to a question of the week. But I just wanted to mention one thing. Apila, you're doing this Uyo project as part of this Kone residency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, it's Kone Foundation's home residency. Yeah, so I'm doing like the Uyo graphic novel during this time, and then next week there's gonna be some Kone person coming to interview me. So they're gonna have like an article about the residency on their website. But
cool.
yeah, and
Yeah, I just wanted like for non-Finnish listeners to let them know that Kone Foundation is like this big foundation in Finland that has been like for years now supporting a lot of artists with like pretty big projects, and now like during this self-isolation time they have like started this this extra kind of fund where they gave grants to a lot of artists who currently can't work, or like who have some projects that they can do at home because they can't really do projects elsewhere, and they're calling it home residency because I guess because people can't travel to like do actual residencies, so that artists can stay home and do their work. And Apila was one of the grantees, and congrats on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I just thought like it's such a nice. I mean, like Kone is not the only foundation who has been doing some like giving grants to artists, because artists are now also like in a difficult situation because of the crisis. But I just thought it's like a very nice thing that like at least we have some ways that artists are financially supported for their work. And like
yeah, and I think especially now in like I think for me it was because there's only one like other comic artist who got this grant now, and I think the most of the people who got the grant are like performing artists, because they can't perform right now because there's no concerts, there's no like theater plays going on right now. So I think for them it was even more important, because for me I can do my work at home easily. So it's not like a different like it's not so like a change for me, this residency at home. It's just like I work from home anyway. But yeah, it is really nice to have this opportunity to focus on the graphic novel and also get this kind of like recognition from Kone Säätiö, because it is a like nice pat on the back, like to show me that okay, this project is important if they want to support it. So it motivates me to work also.
Yeah.
all right, should we go to the question of the week then?
Sure.
Yeah.
So Kimi Ya asked us, or I think they asked me, can you tell us more about your cats, like their names and how you got them? So, but we thought let's all answer this question about our pets, or for those of us, hi Mia, who don't
I'm here.
who don't have pets currently, maybe you can share about your past pets. But yes, I guess, should I start? Because I think this was about my cats.
Yes,
sorry.
go ahead.
All right, so yeah, I think it's because like in our previous episodes, when we recorded them in my home, there would be some instances of sudden noise or even a sudden camera fall because of my cats. So yeah, I have two cats. My older cat is called Notka. She's 10 years old now. So we've had her for like for a long time. We had her since she was a kitten. She was actually born to like a friend, or like a friend of a friend had a cat, and her cat had kittens, and we just asked her. We at that time, my partner and I kind of just randomly decided that we want a kitten, and then we knew that her cat has kittens every now and then, so we just asked, do you have any kittens coming? And she had two people already in line, And she said, like, usually she has 2 kittens, but sometimes she has 3. So if she has 3, you can have the third one. And she had 3. And yeah, and we got Notka. And Notka is, I think she's like half British blue cat, like this. I don't know much about cat breeds, and I don't really care about cat breeds, but I think so. She has this really fluffy, like this short but like very puffy kind of fur. She's really cute. Anyways, but yeah, she's not very friendly. She doesn't like anyone.
Oh.
She's an independent cat.
Yeah, she's a very independent cat, and she doesn't like to be picked up, and she doesn't like to be disturbed in any way. So if you like sit down or lie down and she comes and sits on your lap or next to you, it's like a blessing. It's like, wow, I've been chosen.
Oh.
Yes. And our second cat is called Maya, and we actually only got her in November, like 2019. So she has only been with us for like, what, 4, 5 months, 6 months? Not that many months. Yeah, and she's a rescue, and I actually brought her all the way from Moscow. I have this shelter that I've been following on Instagram, and I really like their work. And the people who run the shelter, they also own like a little vegan shop. So they're like these really cool small entrepreneurs who are also volunteers, and they don't even have like a space for the shelter. They just have a lot of different foster families who like keep those cats and dogs and bunnies actually. Yeah, so anyway, I really liked their work, and one day also we kind of just realized like, okay, we want a second cat. It was also like very kind of like, for 10 years we didn't want a second cat, and then one day we were like, I think we are ready, we need a second cat. So then I just like messaged them, and I was like, okay, I want to adopt a cat, and they told me who was healthy and available at that time, and we picked Maya, and she was a kitten. She was like 7 months old when we got her, and I traveled all the way to Moscow by 2 trains, and then back with, like, I just met Maya at a train station and like took her and left. And like, and I was at first so nervous that I was like with a cat who doesn't know me. But Maya is like so sweet. She's the opposite. She loves everyone. She's
like a dog.
Yeah,
she's like a cat who's secretly a dog.
Yeah. She's not like scared of people. She trusts everyone, and she like, if you pick her up, she's like really happy. She's like, please pet me. But also she's like, maybe because she's really young, she has so much energy. She wants to play all the time. She wants to like climb everywhere, ruin everything, and she like climbs up curtains. Actually, just a couple weeks before we move out, she broke a curtain rod on one of our windows because she climbs up the curtains all the time and sits on a curtain rod. And one day she fell down with the curtain rod. Yeah, and luckily, like, no plants or cat were harmed, but yeah, she's like that. She's like extremely energetic cat. Yes. This is did I take like forever to talk about cats?
No, but this is quality content. This is quality content.
Yes.
Apila, do you wanna talk about your pet?
Yeah, well, actually, I have like 2 dogs. You've met one of them.
Yes! You just got a second dog, right? It's a new thing?
No, actually, I can tell the whole story. So
okay.
It's gonna be...
Yes,
so let's get to it. So I have one dog who is from Romania. I adopted him 3 years ago. Oh, actually, it's like 4. Coming in Juhannus in the summer, it's gonna be 4 years that I got Dusko. So Dusko is from Romania through this organization called Kulkurit, or Hobo Dogs, and I adopted him with my ex-boyfriend. So we like adopted him together, but it was more of my project. I was like, oh, look at these dogs alone in Romania. They're so sad, and I want this one who smells so funny. So we adopted him. It was a really long process actually, and maybe I'll not get into too much, but like we had to wait a half a year to get him because he had some like health issues, so we had to wait half a year, and they were like, oh, do you want to change the dog because he's like a little bit sick? But I'm like, no, I want Dusko. Like I fell in love with him, like because he has this stupid smile, so I was like, oh, it's so cute. So we wanted to get him. So, and he has been in Finland now for like 4 years, so he's a very precious little boy, and he's like, but they don't know the age because like he's a street dog, so they have no idea what his age is, but they said maybe like around 3 years old when we got him, so now he's maybe like 7 years old, so he's getting to a little grandpa age. But yeah, he's a very sweet boy. He's like really shy, but once he like he's like very like motivated by treats. So if you have something to eat, I remember he tried to eat like Sasha's this bread or something, or so he's like always begging for food if he sees somebody eating. So very and this relatable. Other dog, yeah, yeah, but he's a very sweet boy. He's a very small dog, like maybe 8 kilograms, so very small dog. And we got a DNA test on him, so he's actually officially Eastern European village dog. So it's like a street dog, basically a street dog. That breed it's not like a real breed, but it's like the street dogs have like lived so long and reproduced they're so long, it's become like kind of like its own breed by this point. So it's like so like
they bred themselves.
Distinct. Yeah, selective street living. Okay, so yeah.
Wow.
And the other dog that I have this other dog called Bulma, which it's from Dragon Ball. The name I didn't choose it, but yeah. If you watch Dragon Ball, then you know who Bulma is in the comics, and so she is about 7 years old as well, and I have her I have with my ex-boyfriend as well. So she usually lives with my ex-boyfriend, but at this moment she's now with me, so she visits often, and then she can be with Dusko. But they don't really get along super well. They're not like fighting or killing each other, but I think they're like they want to be the only one who gets all the attention. So we decided to like keep them separate when we like broke up with my ex. So he got Bulma and I got Dusko, and I think the dogs are really happy to be the only dogs and get all the attention, but they do appreciate being together sometimes, and so we like exchange them like like children after a divorce. We're like, who gets this dog this weekend? And we're like keeping them like yeah, because I really also I start to miss Bulma if I don't see her, because she's so precious. She's my baby, even if she doesn't live with me full time. But yeah, so she comes visit sometimes, and she's from Finland, but we got her through a friend who got I don't know like where he got it, but like it was like some teenager had taken a puppy, and then they couldn't take care of Bulma, so they were like, oh, we're gonna have to kill this dog because it pees all over the place, it's crazy. And I was like, what the hell, like it's you just can't take care of it, but you just shouldn't like go and like get it like euthanized because of that. So we were like, oh, we can take her, because like of course we don't want the dog to be euthanized, so we can take the dog. And it's Bulma is like, I can understand she is a little bit like more like difficult dog, like maybe not the easiest dog to take care of, but she's still like very lovely. But she has a lot of personality, and she's like super active even at this granny age, because she's now 7 years old. She's still like super active and hyperactive and always like running around and wanting to play. So she's she can be a handful at times, but she's very lovely, loves to give kisses and everything. And she's half Jack Russell Terrier and half Dachshund, this mixed breed dog. But yeah, she's also like rescued in a way. But yeah, those are my dogs, and I talked a long time about them as well. So I think we can give me like an hour to talk about previous pets. Also.
Yeah, I could talk forever about my pets.
Yeah, I was like, how can I say this like shortly? But
Not possible.
No. Okay. You can go ahead, Mia.
Yes. So I'm gonna talk about the only dog I've ever had, Misty, my childhood dog, my sister. I love her. I mean, she has passed, but I think I was maybe 10 years old when we got Misty, and she was actually a puppy from my grandma's dog. So then actually we got, like, it was a surprise. We didn't know that we would get a dog. I mean, I had always wanted a dog because I loved animals, and we went to see when they were puppies, and I was like, please, can we have one of the puppies? But my mom was like, no way. But then suddenly Misty appeared in our life. And yeah, she was just the best dog. She was like a Labrador.
Oh, those are the best.
But not like a full on, like kind of mixed. I don't know what you call that, but you know, she was not like a breed dog, but she looked like a black lab, but a bit kind of smaller. But yeah, she was like the kindest, sweetest dog. She was like super enthusiastic, and I think for the first maybe 7 years, people always thought she was still a puppy when they met her, because she would like jump around. She got so excited about everything, and she was like so kind to everyone. And yeah, she was like my sister because I grew up with her. And yeah, but then when I was like in my mid-20s, she passed away. She lived, I think she was like 14, so she lived a nice long life. And yeah, I still really miss her. And the only reason I don't have a dog right now is because, unfortunately, my partner is super allergic. So all I have is my memories of Misty. And of course, I have, thankfully, some friends who have pets who I can come and cuddle with and play with, which is like the best. But yeah, I miss having a dog, and I miss Misty. She was the nicest dog ever. I mean, no offense to any other dogs. I think it's always, your dog is the
of course. I know my cats are the best cats in the world. Like, no, objectively.
Of course.
I know that. I'm always like, we always talk with my partner. We're like, how did it happen that we, of all the people, we are the ones who got the two best cats in the world? I don't know. Somehow that happened. Yeah. Oh, this was so nice but I was also thinking, like, this could also be a whole separate podcast just talking about pets.
Pet stuff.
Pet edition.
Yes. Please tell us if you want a pet podcast episode. We could do another hour of just pets. But anyways, this was amazing. Thank you, Apila, so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I hope I didn't get too carried away and take all of your time, but it's a lot of I want to share also my experience.
Yeah, I learned so much from you.
Oh,
yeah,
same.
That's
good to hear.
Yeah, I'm sure our listeners will appreciate all of your wisdom. Yes. How is your drawing, by the way?
It's I'm almost done with the line art. I'm pretty perfectionist with my line art, so I think I'm still gonna take a while to finish it, and then probably gonna just color it with flat colors or something, so it wouldn't be too much.
Right.
I can maybe show in the Skype, but you won't see. Oh, zoom out.
Oh, it's cute.
So cute. Oh my god, yes.
All right. Well, please send to us once it's finished, because we have to put it in the end of this video so that the listeners can also see, or the ones who are listening on YouTube, it will be in the end of the video, and the ones who are listening, the audio, it will be on our social media.
Yes, I'll send you the finished one.
Yes. How about you, Mia? How is your drawing process?
So I actually have 2 drawings now.
Wow!
But the first one, this portrait of Hermione, I finished.
Ooh.
She's holding Crookshanks and a bunch of books and scrolls. And then I also started a portrait of myself with Misty.
Oh, of course you did.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she's so tiny.
Yeah. I don't think she's actually that tiny, but maybe this is like a puppy version.
Yes, puppy version.
But yeah. Oh, that this was so nice. What about you, Sasha? Where are you?
Well, yeah, I finished the leaf thing, but I mean, it's just a
like
pattern. Yeah. But then I also started some abstract thing, but it's still in the process. So I'll finish it off camera and let's see where it goes.
Yeah, I like the colors.
Yeah, it's this yellow and red blob pattern.
Ooh, I want to see it finished.
Yeah, all right. Well, thanks for listening. And thank you, Apila, for joining us. And those of you who were drawing with us, please also share your drawings on social media and tag us so we can see them and repost them.
And Apila, would you like to tell everyone where they can find you online?
Yes, I am Apila Pepita on Instagram. That's my illustrations account. And then I am Apila Tattoo. That's my tattoo Instagram if you want to go follow my tattoo apprenticeship stories. But yeah, Instagram is where I'm most active at, and also have Twitter Apila Pepita. So yeah, go follow me to see what I do.
Yes, go follow Apila. All the links are gonna be on YouTube in the description, and on the audio stuff they're gonna be in the show notes. So go follow Apila and follow our podcast wherever you're listening. Please hit a follow, because that's very important if you listen to us, and give us all the likes and reviews, and on the app you're listening to, whatever you can do it.
Yes, on YouTube, subscribe, like, you know what to do.
Yes. All right. Well, see you in the next episode, but for now, bye-bye.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the Drawing Club podcast.
You can follow us on Instagram at Drawing Club Podcast, or email us at drawingclubpodcast@gmail.com.
You can also find me, Mia, on Instagram at mia.minerva and on YouTube as Mia Minerva. Sasha, where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram at Sasha_Kretova.
This podcast was created by us, Mia Minerva and Sasha Kretova.
Olli Arni created the theme song and assisted with the recording, and Dmitry Zherbin took care of audio mastering.
Welcome to the club, friends.